There you go. I grew up in New York,
No way, did you really? Where in New York?
Syracuse.
I used to have a little cottage in a town called Luzerne up near Lake George.
Way up.
Way up. Oh, yeah, years ago.
Awesome. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and start it, at least.
So who's all on? How many people are on?
Just us.
Really?
Is your crew going to be in here?
They sure are supposed to be. You're supposed to have a lot of those guys on there.
They're late.
We got one viewer on there, but let's go ahead and launch it. We go live.
Okay.
All right, this Hangout on Air is now live. Good evening, and welcome to another GuideURGuest digital sales discussion. We've got Mark Palmer in the room with Roger and myself, and if you're out there watching on the YouTube page and you'd like to participate, we can have up to 10 viewers line this bottom spot here. So we encourage you to come on in.
But if you don't want to come in and you've got a question, you can text it too.
That's right. You can text to 920-267-6025. That worked real well for the viewers that were just in YouTube last week. And Mark, are you actually selling?
I do sell. I do some ad sales. So yeah.
What was your experience prior to NADS, Mark?
I've been with NADS for 14 and a half years. And prior to that, I used to open up health clubs.
Oh, okay.
About 10 years of that, all over mostly the Mideast, Midwest.
Cool.
Yeah.
One of the franchisors?
I did, yeah. I used to do some Gold's Gyms and some World Gyms, big bodybuilder guys.
They're two of the bigger ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they've downsized over the years. You know, you've got LA Fitness now, and I think there's another big player in the business. But yeah, 24 Fitness, I think.
We see a lot of Snap Fitnesses in Texas.
What is it called?
Snap.
I'm not familiar with that one, no.
SNAP.
Okay. Huh. I'm reaching out, just so you know, guys. I'm reaching out to Samantha and asking her what's going on with our team. Where are they?
Okay.
I thought you said 3 years that you were with NADS today.
Oh no, 4.5 years or 14 and a half years.
Got it.
I've been around for a while. Yeah.
So if you're out there watching and you're one of the 6 viewers and you'd like to join us, do so by hitting the Join Now button that's on the page, live.guideurguest.com. Just click that Join Now and log in with your Google account, and you'll take a seat. If you choose not to join us in the discussion, you can then also text your questions to this number right here. And that worked real well last week. To do that. This is Jim. I'll be watching. Okay. Hi, Jim. Feel free to come on in. Remember, Roger, we were gonna ask a question, an opening question. Do you remember what that first question was? I remember what the second one was.
Well, the first one was, does anybody have any questions?
Well, yeah, that was the first question, but we actually had by show of hands. Remember, we were going to do it by show.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. How many? If you've been in one of these trainings before, you text AJ or show your hand, and mark your cameras off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see us. We can't see you. Hopefully, Mark's
okay,
team
wait a second.
us. Mark, how many people on your team have been to one of these?
Well, just a second here.
I said, how many of your team members have been in one of these hangouts?
I think last week we probably had about, oh gosh, maybe altogether probably 6 or 7 of them, maybe 6.
Okay. So of those 6 or 7, how many of them have been out there selling with the app?
I know that has been, and also, gosh, Randy told me today he's been out there.
Well, last week we had 9 of you who actually requested. I take that back. We had 12 of you who actually requested sales packets and kits. Those tickets were created live on air that last Wednesday, and how many people have received their packets and their kits? If you're an audience member that is watching, go ahead and text us to the number if you have received your kit. If you have not received your kit, and this is your first time here, and you don't have the paperwork in your hands and you like it, you can also text to that same number and say open or just request sales materials, and I'll open a ticket for you.
Jim, you obviously can hear us. If you've been to one of these trainings in the past, Jim, if you would text AJ. And if you haven't, you kind of need us to go through some things pertaining to it. It'd be great if you could join us and we could kind of interact and discuss your questions.
The room's open. It's very easy to come in. Just click the Join Now button, and as long as we have room, anyone's welcome. Otherwise, after 10 people, we have to wait till someone rotates out and comes back in.
And right now, it's just the choir preaching to each other.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll probably drop off to let these guys ask, because I've got all my questions answered. I was hoping we have this.
Yeah, hopefully some of your people will join, Mark.
So Deidre has received it. I just got a text message from her. Awesome. Very good.
Okay.
Deidre.
Okay.
And if you...
There's Dave.
There we go. Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
How's the sales been?
I was out there in Watchland, and I didn't see any chairs going up.
Yeah, last week you had a tough time.
Oh my gosh!
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. Well, it was a learning experience, so now we know the difference between the joint and we go in and out. Since we had plenty of open chairs.
I think you had just one question, and you were in and out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Have you had some more success? You've been out there. I think you're the first person, other than Roger, to actually first sell a digital ad.
Mm-hmm. Last week I was in a market that it just it seemed less than prudent. I did show it to a grocery store that was in the market in an attempt to boost him from a $3.95 ad to a $5.95 sort of an arrangement, and he actually went down in size to pay the $3.95. So it's like, oh. It kind of told me what the it just that particular marketplace that wasn't necessarily the one to go jumping into. And
so how's it been for you this week so far?
Well, I just got into this marketplace last night, so
Where you at?
I am in Safford, Arizona.
Nice. Good weather down there, or no?
Well, it's hanging around 70 degrees.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Annette is confirming that she has her packet. Awesome, Annette. Very good. Love that. And then Linda is now watching. Linda went to the Saturday one, apparently, but now she's actually watching. Linda, just want to make sure that you're able to access sales.guideyourguest.com. If you could shoot me just another email or text to that point. I know that we had talked a little bit through emails about you today. So good. Glad that you have your packet as well. Jim, Jim has got his packet, and he's going to be in the home office. He's in the home office watching, so that's cool. And
That must be Jim Ford.
yeah, the McCarvers are watching, and however, it's a terrible signal, so we'll try to talk in between the cuts. No, make it simple. I'm sorry you're having bad luck with the signal tonight to the McCarvers.
Dave, how many properties are you working with there?
This has 7 properties.
Nice.
Okay. Real nice.
Is it a big market, big town, lots of advertisers?
Too early to tell. I don't know. What's a lot of advertisers in your world?
Well, what was its last run at?
In terms of the amount of
Yeah, the revenue.
advertisers?
Yeah,
Oh,
what,
the revenue was 78.75.
Okay.
okay.
Did you work it last time?
I did not. It's 14 clients.
14.
So an average of $500 a client.
So I had a question come in through text message today, and I believe the viewer is watching. So I want to just bring it up, and it kind of dollars. Then to include this digital package, we need to get $8,450 or about $1,900 more. Correct? Is that how you look at it, Roger? Is that how?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's basically a minimum of $1,500, but shooting for a 30% increase.
On the revenue generated previous.
Right.
So I hope that that answers your question, but yes, in essence, you have it right. Restaurants, the changes to the specials. Yes, the links to the specials can be there, to their menu can be there, can be updated to change. So if their specials change, then that link is there.
And guys, keep in mind, if it's a link, if it's a special page on their website, if it's a link that's going to their website, when they change something on their website, it changes what comes up in the app. I mean, that link is a link. So when you change what's on the other end, it's changed.
Mm-hmm. Now he also asks this as well. He's saying that so far, he's getting a lot of positive feedback, and that the advertisers are all very excited, and some are asking if they can buy the digital without purchasing an ad. And he told them he didn't think so, and that is actually incorrect. From what I understand, you can purchase just a digital ad. Am I correct in that, Roger?
Yes. Yes. That's my understanding as well. Jim may be able to text you an answer to that question.
And I think not just to expand that out a little bit, I think the first part of that question is more important, as Dave, and you understand, about hitting that total for digital. So I don't know if not, like, if the marketplace isn't up to that certain level just yet, and it's not ready to go digital, then how do you handle the people in this particular case who would have just purchased the digital listing? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We lost your picture, Roger.
Well, make a note to inquire with AJ about that. Excuse me, Tate about that.
Mm-hmm. But as far as I understand, I believe that you can sell just digital spots.
That wasn't the understanding that I heard last week from Tate.
You heard it differently?
I did.
Oh, yeah. You could possibly be right about that, but I don't know. Again, I will make a note for that. Let's see, we've got some more texts coming in to the 920 number. Do hotel customers actually click on an ad to get the links for the advertisers?
They click on the advertiser.
They click on the advertiser, correct. And the advertiser is listed. Welcome, Randy.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, real good.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Deidre, yes. To answer your question, the hotel customers do actually click their listing. It's an actual listing in the app, and they click. And then Roger is correct about the increase. No, Tate doesn't want to take away from the base of the printed directories. So, to Dave's point, you're right. I guess you cannot just sell an insert, a standalone.
And so, to that point, so rather than trying to sell them a big full-page ad, I mean, if they're more interested in the digital than the print, you sell them an 8th-page ad. Just get them in there, a business card size ad, something so they've got a presence in the book as well. Folks, you got to keep in mind that a lot of these travelers, the vast majority of them are going to have a smartphone and going to be smartphone savvy, but we still have to look after the seniors out there who oftentimes are traveling with more expendable cash. They can afford to do more, and those advertisers definitely don't want to eliminate them from doing business with them.
There's it's an actual list.
Welcome, Jim.
And they click.
How you guys doing?
Good.
And Roger is. Oh, you've got your YouTube video playing. No, Tate doesn't want to take away from background.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Turn the YouTube video off.
There we go.
There we go. Can you add some enlightenment to that discussion?
You guys were talking about selling only digital. Tate would like to try to keep selling the regular ads and digital at the same time. He doesn't want to take away from the base of the actual printed directory, but there are going to be selected areas that are going to be digital only.
Yeah.
But again, and to that point, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to kind of reiterate, folks, it's if the hotel allows the printed directory, what Jim's talking about is there's properties that are only going to have digital, they're not going to have any print, and that's great. That market's going to open back up for you guys because it's been closed, and that's great. But for the markets that have a printed directory, it's important that the business have some presence in that printed directory for those people that aren't smartphone savvy.
Roger?
Yes.
I've been out demoing the app, and I've actually upsold 3 businesses off of it.
Way to go, Randy.
One, just a new one. Well, I came through, and the previous person had sold like $150 half page, $200 full page, and once I showed him the app and said, hey, you really need to be in the app, it needs to be interactive, I show on my rate sheet, I made when I show the 199 and then the 49 and 49. So I tell them, look, I'll make you a deal if you add on the app. I'll do it for 150. So I turned the one into a $350 sell, and the one from $100 to a $250 sell. They just added on the app as part of it. People are just blown away at the app. That's been so cool. They're just like, wow, I can't. Plus, then it gives us an alternative to, oh, well, I'm on Yelp, or I'm on Google, or I'm on whatever. You say, well, that's great, but you're getting lost in all the Yelp traffic, and people start using this app, you're going to be out. They're not going to go back to that.
Right.
And it's been good. So I'm just trying to add on 150 onto that, do like a you know, $350 half page, and then just add the 150 right onto it, do the package deal, and it's been very well received.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is undervalue the app. As you're seeing,
Mhm.
people like it and they're excited about it, and you don't want to undervalue it. Obviously, the purpose, or excuse me, the goal is to increase the overall revenue.
Yeah.
You know,
But you can, but again, Roger, you told this story a few times in these hangouts that I think I know it well enough that I can tell it. That rate sheet, when you were speaking with a particular salesman, he said it's not often you're going to get the rates that are on that
Right.
rate sheet.
right, correct, and that's the reality, and I think that's what Randy's saying is, you know, they didn't get the rates last time that were on the rate sheet, but with the app, he was able to upsell them the full price of the app plus get what the ad was sold for last time.
Right.
So, and that's the important thing is don't, you know, don't underestimate the value of the app.
Or don't underestimate the value of the print media as well, because
Correct.
the print media now with the digital side has usefulness. It's not just wasted trees, so to speak. It's actually promoting that whole digital bridge. And what we said, you know, in the past is that they're not going to take that book out of the room with them, but they're going to take their smartphone with them.
That's right.
Go through the market with that book in the palm of their hand.
Yeah, I use that
reality is,
example.
Randy, you're going to get stronger and stronger as time goes on. You know.
Yeah, I mean, well, the app's just, and it sets us apart. I mean, in any of the other advertising that they do, they're not getting put into an app, and
Right.
that's right there's just strengthened our position that much more.
Absolutely, and as I've said all along, you know, I've worked one market, the only market I worked, and I demoed the app on every single call, and whether they bought from me or not, the response was the same every single time. They said, "Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I like that."
Yeah, and I think what happens too in the whole leisure side of checking into a motel room and getting ready, you know, it's one thing if you're a business traveler, it's another thing if you're a single person, it's another thing if you're a family, so on and so forth. But there's that exposure to the guest directory to where they're flipping those pages and they're seeing those ads. And now that digital tie-in kind of makes that power of that media so much more stronger. So you have that opportunity if you're with an advertiser who's really excited about this program and says, "Wow, that's great." Now you can start to build more credibility back into the print side of it and sell them the half page, or like you did, Roger, do the full page and say, you know what? It's that recognition. When they see that full page color ad and then later on they see your listing in the app, they're going to choose you over the competition every time. Because that's what happens.
Well, and I
find what they're looking for, they stop looking.
And I use the example that I'll sit and go through the directory and I see all these cool things, and I'm not a list kind of person. I won't sit and write down what I want to see. And then I leave the room and I go out and about and I'm like, there was that really cool place that I saw in the directory and I don't remember what it was, and if the wife doesn't remember what it was, you know, we just kind of blow it off. But if I've got the app right there, I'm going to pull it up and go, now where was that place? Oh yeah, it's right here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on the map. It's going to take me right there. And they've really understood that seemed to really click in their minds because everybody's in the directory.
Folks, that right there was worth the price of admission tonight. That was your lesson for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Really?
when do I get the money? When do I get the check, Roger?
Jim can address that. Jim's about 2 offices away from the checkbook right now, so.
I'll let Mike handle that.
or I take credit card if you got your credit card handy. Check or credit card, it don't matter.
There you go. You know, so much of it is, you know, you've got the app. It does a lot. You got to play around with it. You got to recognize its value. You've got to, you know, figure out how you're going to portray that value to the customer. Because ultimately, what it comes down to is when you get to that price and you get to talking price with that customer, you better have built up the value to meet that price when you present that price. That's the key. You've got to be asking them for, the money that you think it's worth, but you should have done your job in presenting it so that it's worth the money you're asking for. This isn't, the old hardcore sales and hardcore paper closing and strong arming people into buying something from you. This is giving them a good, strong presentation about the directory, a good, strong demonstration about the app, so that when you get to your rate sheet, they aren't floored by those prices. Those prices are not aligned.
So we got a question from the audience in the area code 702. Right on, Las Vegas out there. Why don't we have a rate card that has both print and digital included, as well as contract with a box to add digital buy? Question mark, your thoughts. Jim, any thoughts from you on that one?
Can you repeat the question?
Why,
Jim, you're gonna regret joining this hangout before the night's over.
Yeah, I can tell.
Why don't we have a rate card that has both print and digital included, as well as a contract with a box to add digital buy? Your thoughts?
Well, the contracts we have to keep separate between the print advertiser and the digital advertiser. Having the rate proposals, having the two different rates on there, that's a really good idea, and we should work on that and probably launch that pretty soon here.
Awesome.
And so to kind of reiterate the two separate contracts, and this was something we had a pretty lengthy discussion about. They're two separate. Tate wants to keep the two things separate so that if there's an issue with one, you guys don't have a customer demanding a refund, screaming and hollering, they want their money back or whatever the case may be on both of them if it's all in one. So, that's one of the reasons he wants to keep it separate. And at some point, and they are two separate pieces of advertising. That is the reality.
Well, in talking with Mike today, though, they can write one check, and then we can just separate it on the two contracts. They don't have to write two separate checks or have two separate credit cards for it.
Correct.
Yep.
It can be just one payment.
So somebody asking, will the first page of the guest directory have the QR code and the GuideURGuest web address big and bold? And it is pretty big and bold. It's just like the demo that you should have received of the front page. But I think we're going to be playing and discussing some things where there's a meeting here in Vegas in December, and we're going to be talking about the concept of some text-based tools on that front page as well, especially when the app is available in the App Store. Text something like text 224 to or text the word get to 2247, and then all of a sudden the link is automatically sent to them. Again, that's not in place. We're just foreshadowing, but I can tell you that I see that becoming, enhancing. I see that part of it enhancing, as well, of course, as, I do think that the web address should be big, and of course the QR code is, it has its own audience, so to speak. I mean, the people that use QR codes are people that just love QR codes, and it's not a lot of people, but it's a healthy enough amount of people that they're useful.
And here's my deal. Again, I think one of the things I hear a lot is, oh well, I'm on Yelp or I'm on Urban Spoon. Here's my thing with that is people like my wife. Every time we go, she's always on Yelp looking for a place to eat or whatever. But if she saw that QR code, she would get it because she likes to do the apps. She's going to use that. So people who are savvy enough to use Yelp, to use Urban Spoon, they're going to pick up on that QR code. They're going to load our app, and that's what they're going to use. They're not going to have to go and use Yelp anymore because they've got what's right there. Plus, we've given those businesses an extra bit of credibility by being in our directory and being in our app. So their Yelp just went out the door, because they're going to use our app.
Well, and here to follow up on that point, once they buy an ad from you, and once they're in your directory and in the app for that market, they now have become a preferred business for that property, for that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They've now become who that hotel is going to recommend. And it does give it a little bit more credence and credibility to that business, because they all want, you know, when you guys check into these hotels, you see those brochure racks with menus and Chinese restaurant menus and Mexican restaurant menus. You know, those businesses, they realize the value of the traveler's business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now here's the other thing, guys. When you're in these hotels, I would strongly recommend that you encourage those managers not to allow those menus to be dropped off anymore.
Yep.
I would strongly encourage you to educate those managers and say, listen, you know, part of our deal with you getting these directories and us doing this app for you is if they aren't in our app, you aren't recommending them. You aren't letting them drop off menus and brochures about their place of business. When they bring those in and say, hey, can we leave these here? Tell them no, but you can call this company and they can put you in this app right now.
Well, and that's a selling point that I use for the customers. Is what this does is it gives you access to these hotels, because they're cracking down on everybody just dropping stuff off.
Right.
I suggest you go talk with the people at the front desk, give them a free dinner, bring them a plate of cookies or whatever. They'll be your best salespeople. You need to work with that. This gives you access to that, and that's been a pretty strong response too. That they like that fact.
And right from the beginning, and it's probably something we haven't talked a great deal about since, is educating those hotels and those desk clerks. You know, they're your number one cheerleader, number one promoter for this app. You know, they need to be encouraging people when they check in to download that app. When somebody comes to the front desk and says, where's a good place to eat steak, you need them saying, everything we recommend is in this app.
Are we going to have something at the front desk, just a little, plastic sign or something, that sits on the desk that they can just say, hey, if you've got a smartphone, and just let them do the QR code and load up the app right there?
Right. Well, one of the things is each property gets a stack of business cards to promote the app that has the QR code on it, information on how to download it. And again, just to reiterate one more point, is after 25 markets are completed and uploaded and in the app, the QR code is still going to be in place, but it's no longer is necessary. They can literally go to their iTunes account, search
the QR code will redirect. So currently, it's pointing to the universal app, and also that is redirectable, so it's specific to the property. So even though when you see, I've had the luxury of seeing a few of them, even though you see them and they look like they're the same, they're not. They're actually, each one is property specific. So currently, that property specific is taking them to the universal app and landing page for that particular place. Now, in the future, that will go to automatically detect what device they're using, whether it's the iPhone or the Android or Windows, for instance. Windows won't have its own app in the App Store, but the Windows users will use the Universal app, because there's not a good solution for Windows users other than to just stream that content. Same with Blackberries. Same with tabs, a tablet, an iPad, even a computer. Some people might bring their desktop with them when they travel. And if they go on their Safari or their Google Chrome browser, it'll detect, that address as well. So it's, obviously you're not running a native app on the computer, so we still have to provide those things anyways, even with the Google and the Apple apps. But for those users who scan that code, it will detect this is an Android device. It will send them to the Play Store where they can install the native app right on their device.
Real quickly, Larry, if you were able to at least watch what's going on right now, if you would text to 920-267-6025. I received your email. I responded back with the link. So if you would, just let us know you're at least watching and able to.
I believe Larry is on.
Okay.
I'm not 100% certain, but I believe he is.
Hey, Roger, when you talk about the 25, is that 25 individual properties or 25 areas?
25 markets. So, for instance, Dave's working a market with 7 properties. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one addition to the app.
Okay, even though there's going to be 7 separate properties within that.
Correct. Those 7 properties are going to have the exact same app. The only thing that's going to be different is the landing page for each one
Oh, yeah, okay.
will be
Okay.
property specific.
Okay. That makes sense.
Welcome back, Mark.
Hey guys, well I was just watching.
Now we're watching you.
Did you round up some of your team?
You know, I think there are people watching based
Okay.
on what.
Yeah, I
As you
mean,
were
they're
saying
texting.
earlier.
They're communicating with us, so they are. There's some people just choose to watch. But see, just for your own knowledge, if you are out there watching, just like how Mark has his camera off and it shows his profile picture, if you're not presentable to be on camera, you can choose to do that too, and then we can only hear you. Now, if you have screaming children in the background, just watch and
Yeah.
tap.
Hey, really, the reason I jumped back on though, guys, is AJ. There may be people watching now that hear us talking about an app. Training and understanding this is great. Everything they understand what you're talking about, but some don't know what we're talking about. It would be nice to sort of see a phone and someone hold the phone up with the app and say, "Well, guys, this is what we're talking about," because those features are really the value add of what we're talking about. But if you don't see it, they don't understand it. That's what I wanted to suggest.
I'm going to turn it over to Randy, who's
Ready.
giving us demos, and he's going to show us what he does, if you don't mind, Randy.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me grab the page.
Good suggestion, by the way, Mark. Hi, Scott.
So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
so what I do is I
with us, so they're sucking, Randy. Scott, go ahead and pause the YouTube video so we don't hear the feedback. You got it. Good.
All right, Randy's got the floor.
Okay. Okay, well, what I do is I just show them that this will be the page that's going to be the front page on each of the directories, and show them that it has the QR code, and they all think that's pretty cool. And then I just pull out my phone, and I show them that there I am, and then I show them that where the app is. So then
Look at all that money.
I just click on the app. Is it loading? Yeah, it loads. Then I just show them that, and sometimes I will go to the slideshow, and it just depends. If I have good connection, I like just showing them that it's live. That works pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just go and say, okay, if you're a restaurant, then I would just click on the restaurant part and say, see, you'll be listed, and I tell them this is kind of like Yelp. This has everybody listed, and then I just say, and then so you would have your own page. You can put your pictures, you can put all your information, and then because I want to sell them on the location services, I say so when they click on your location, they're going to get a map, and it's going to take them right to your restaurant.
Awesome.
It's like, oh wow, yeah, that's cool because they understand it. Because one of the things everybody's saying, I say, where do you advertise? It's social media. Social media. Okay, well you can link to your social media off of your app. You can put your Facebook. You can put your website. You can put your Twitter account. And they're like, oh. But then I asked them too. Okay, I had a kid today that they have a food truck that's called Waffle Love, and they are like, it's like a cult. I mean, these guys have people line up for hours at their trucks. Well, they opened a store, and he says, oh, we don't need it. We have all this Facebook, and we have all this. I said, I know, but if I'm a traveler, how am I going to know about you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to know how great you are. Oh, well, we had never paid for advertising, so I think I'll get it. I'm going to have to do some little bit of trade for the waffles, but that's I got the best waffles in the world, so I can handle that. But it's easy, and I mean that's basically all I do with the app. That's pretty quick. I mean, and it works real good. I haven't had any problem.
we're past that point now where, you know, there was a point where people just didn't understand apps. The hardest thing for people to understand about apps is the app store itself. Most of the time, the users just don't remember their password. So bypassing that, and I just read a really great article today on Google about bypassing these, you know, making these apps native to the device, and how the cloud and the universal app has so much appeal. And I really know, without, you know, too much time to have to wait for this, I really know that the market is going to change, and that the app stores as we know it, the Google Play Store and the Apple iTunes Store, they're going to go away. And it won't, I mean, they might still house the information, but it'll be universal. And just like we install the universal app on our home screen, it's the same thing, except it's not taking up space on the user's phone, and it's all through the cloud, which means it's instantly updatable. It's the best scenario. It really is.
And it works pretty good. I haven't had any problem going back and forth with it being the universal app.
Yeah, and the universal app hides the address bar, and it makes it feel like it's a native app, and that's, people get into that, you know. And quite honestly, I can't even install another app on my phone right now, guys. My phone is so full of pictures and videos that I have no room on my phone to even download a 2 megabyte app. I can barely send a text message sometimes. So I think that's the issue that we're facing, is that the space on people's phones versus the universal nature of the internet. Now, the other types of information that are available at their fingertips are our competitors. The Google Maps, because we're not 49 million businesses on the Google map. We don't expose every single business and their brother to the advertisers, I mean to the end users, the clients. So I think that's huge. It's a hand-picked, selected, featured showcase of the advertisers that are in this book. And, you know, Google just throws those businesses out on the map. They don't have a Dave or a Randy in, you know, checking out the business and talking to the person and actually explaining the program. They just say, oh, let's put them on there. Wrong, right, or indifferent. If their information's wrong, they'll figure it out someday. That's literally their mentality. I deal with it every day. I see mismarked and misinformation on Google Maps like crazy. So the point is that, again, I can't emphasize it enough. If people find what they're looking for, they stop looking. So if they find what they're looking for using the Guide Your Guest app, they're not going to go to Google. They're not going to go to TripAdvisor. They've already found what they're looking for.
Yeah, I want to follow up on something real quick that I just thought of and recalled. You know, getting back to, do they have to buy an ad in the directory, a print ad, in order to do the app? And the answer to that question is yes. But one of the things that they'd really like to get away from is those full-page, tiny micro print menus, and they'd like to have the advertiser. It's a Chinese restaurant. They still want to do a full page, do their logo, do a big, beautiful ad, but put their menu in the app. So that's another, you know, strong reason why the print is still important, but gives an additional value to the app, because some of that stuff they've been putting in print, they no longer have to put in print. Like their Facebook logo, you know, that Facebook logo, search Facebook to find us. Well, it's in the app. It's a link off of their ad in the app.
But when they do the menu through the app, will they have to host that on a website, the menu, or can we develop that menu and host it for them?
You know, that's a great question, and the easiest answer is that they should have their own website, and they should have their own way to display their menu, and they may not even know it. Google started adding menus to the restaurants recently, just automatically. It was Google's had made some big changes to the Maps program, and now if you go to find a business on the Google Map, a restaurant, it'll say View Menu, and when you go to that link, it's not their business menu, it's a Google menu of the food that they offer, which is pretty cool. And
How do they get that?
you know, it's a great question. I don't know how they get a lot of the things that they have, but they have it. And one of the features that I see that would be really good here is that at the very least, if they don't have a website, and they can get, and we can make that menu a PDF, a portable digital format, then we could link to that PDF from within the site, regardless of if they had. I believe it would probably have to equal the price of a link, and it would be, you know, the same as adding a new link. But Jim, maybe you could answer that too. If the salesman send in a menu to the office, is there a way to get it digitally scanned and converted to a PDF and make downloadable PDF menus available for those websites?
Yes, you can. The hardest part about scanning a lot of that in is usually the menu that we're scanning in is out of date, so we're usually bringing it up to date. I think a lot of the sales reps would probably agree, because every time they hand in a menu, it seems like there's always changes.
Interesting. Interesting.
But I like, you know, what we were talking about is usually a website, or if they have their menu on a website, it's usually more up to date than any printed piece they have.
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, but to follow up on that, the biggest benefit there is when they change their menu on their website, it's automatically changed in that link.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're linking to that website. So any changes they make are automatically changed via the link on the app.
I also think that one of the cool features there when we're talking about menus, and let's say that the business has their menu online, one of the really cool quick response features is that, and you can sell this to them this way, that you go to a website and there's going to be hours, and maybe there's going to be something as far as of a home page, but there's certain information like a menu which is quick. I want it now. I want to see the menu now. I don't want to have to go to the website, search around for where the menu might be. You know, it's split between, you know, the contact us and the about us and this and that. I don't want that. But if it exists and it's online, then that link can go straight to the menu, and when we post it in the app, we'll post it as menu. So it's two different things. It's the website, it's their Facebook page, and then menu. But it would be its own link. So hyperlinking within someone's website is a great way to build up a little extra revenue and sector that out, so to speak.
AJ, I have a question.
Taking the glasses off.
That brought up another
Serious.
question. I was thinking, what's the best way to link their Facebook page? Because I looked up the Facebook and the. Oh.
Randy, one second. Dave was about 2 seconds away from getting the question out, but we'll come back to that. That's a good one.
Okay.
All right. I see on the main menu there's guest services, and then there's guest services down in the lower portion of the app. And I have there's a client here that runs an airport limo and things like that, and they want to be put under transportation. So I'm wondering, is that going to show up under local business? Do I need to make some sort of notation? Is that guest services really going to be there?
The guest services is going to be hotels, and when we have properties that are actually done and we can move it to an actual physical property, it's going to be a list of all participating hotels.
Okay.
So it won't actually be guest services. It will be every Guide Your Guest property that's in the app.
Okay. So a transportation company is going to wind up under local business then, is what I'm hearing.
Or transportation.
Well, transportation is not an option on here.
Yeah, or local business. And I liked your suggestion too about museums.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right.
so it's almost like I like the tours and adventure to be grouped together, and maybe that bus can be transportation or something.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good for limousines and taxi cabs and rental cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Transportation might need to be
transportation. I like that. I'm going to make that as a note. I think that's good.
Okay, I yield the floor to Randy.
Oh, thanks. I was just, like I say, I had a couple of them that I sent in, and they wanted their Facebook, but when I pulled up the Facebook, it's like this long URL that I don't even know if I could decipher it. If we just put their name, Facebook with their company name, is that enough? Then you guys will research the link. How do we
Well, here's what I would say. Probably the easiest way, Randy, is to pull their Facebook up on your computer and just copy and paste the link and email that in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's a lot of Joe's Bar and Grills that have Facebook pages.
Right. So you're referencing in your email, in the subject line, the town and the customer, and then in the body of the email, copy and paste the link to their Facebook.
Okay.
So that it's real easy for them to access it and file it in the office.
But we would just send that to the ad.
Yep.
The same place they email the ads to.
Correct.
Okay, that's probably good.
Because once that you go to a market, once you start working that market, and those emails start coming in, they start a file to house those emails for that market, so that when they get everything from you and they start to work the market, they can go to that file and get it all out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that would be the same with if somebody has their own QR code, just have them send in the copy, or can we copy and paste that from a website?
That would be a question for someone other than I.
Okay.
I would think that if you can get a really good PNG or JPEG file of it sent, that would be sufficient.
Okay.
Otherwise, a scan of it, if it's a printed code that they have somewhere, a scan.
Okay.
But I really don't understand for anything other than the print. Like their own QR code would be in the print. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So Jim, probably you can speak to that. What's the required format?
Well, like you were saying, a PNG is fine. It just has to be high enough resolution that we can print at 300 dpi's when we print out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Really, when it comes down to it, if you could send in the hard copy, we can scan that, or we'll just recreate another QR code.
Right. QR codes are easy to recreate, and if you just send in a link to whether you want that QR code just stands for quick response. So it's a quick response, a quick way to get to something, and if you just send in where they're supposed to get to, they can create a new QR code. There can be 10 different QR codes that take you to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
QR codes aren't link specific.
And to that point, personally, I would try to minimize the amount of QR codes that you stick in the book, because there's the one main QR code which houses everything, and that's really the concept there. It gets distracting, and it takes away from the cause when there are multiple QR codes throughout the book.
Okay.
Well, what if you have, like with an advertiser, if they want to do the links, what if you have our main QR code, in their ad, because then it'll take them a roundabout way to their link.
Great idea. And the other thing too that we can discuss, and I'll make a note to talk about this with Tate as well, is that we're generating that in-house. Those QR codes, we have a pretty sophisticated system that generates the QR codes and tracks them and makes them redirectable. So if the end link has to change, even though it's in print media for the next 2 years, it's still going to change. And we may want to have an upsell charge for the customer having a QR code that would be generated by us in-house and then point directly to their listing in the app. That would be cool. Kind of going off your point there.
Yeah, that really would be cool because it gives them an opportunity to load the app, but it goes straight to their ad.
Right, and then they have a copy of that QR code for themselves, and they can use it in their other print media, and all it's doing is gathering more eyes for our app. Not a bad idea.
That's what I was kind of referring to the other night, was if they could use the app, and that's a good idea if they had the QR code in their print that would just take them right to our app, to them. And
well, not just to our app, but to their business within the app.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's good. I've got that noted. Scott, I know you've been in here for a little while. You were unmuted at first. Anything you want to add to the mix tonight?
Looks like Scott's still muted. He's unmuted. Welcome,
I'm still
Scott.
trying to figure this out. Hey, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Just taking this all in. So.
Have you received your packet?
Not yet. I think they were going to send it to my next project.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
And so.
All right. Now, AJ, are we doing
all of you out there watching this in the
what?
Wednesday, Roger?
Yeah, you got garbled on me there for a minute, but next Wednesday's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. A lot of these folks will be traveling to get home.
Yeah. I think we'll postpone next week.
Yeah, we'll skip next Wednesday and reconnect the following Wednesday. And again, Mark, if you're still watching, Jim, some folks that haven't been able to make it, if you can encourage them to make it, that'd be great. Any other questions before we shut this thing down? Any text message questions?
And I will thank the viewers that do interact with the text messages. I do receive all of them, even though I don't mention some of them, but I do see them all. And some of them, just don't need to be mentioned. But good thoughts. Okay, here's one that just came in that we will do. When you swipe the screen from Explore Area, Local View, it takes you to a screen with nearby settings. Could you talk about those layers? Yes, there are two different ways within the app to explore the area. And the one that you're speaking about that references your location settings is what we call the local or radar view. And it's the one that's red. The main app for the property and your main demo app has also a link to that, which is just under the PDF, which today we discussed moving this PDF, and I think we're going to end up moving it to a different place. But the link to Explore Local Area is right there, and that's the live version. Now, understand that we're in demo right now, and we only have a demo that's live for a Moab, and it's not even real. There is like that. The businesses that are in Moab have no idea that they're in our demo. So the reality is that there's also a local view down here, which is built into the app and is the eyeball. And when you click that, this is a dummy of the local view, and it basically allows you to kind of thumb through what the local view does in your presentation. And this says, you know, that when you click on the app, you're going to be able to see the different categories, and then, you know, when they decide to click.
Other way.
Am I swiping the wrong way?
Hey.
There we go. When they decide to click one of their businesses, it's gonna, or one of the categories, it's gonna bring up a list, and then that list, when they decide to choose one, it's gonna bring up the information. If you have your inside on Google, it's gonna display inside your store. If you're on the, and it's either way, it's designed to be able to swipe through, and I've got this crazy little tripod thing, and it's affecting my swipe right now. But that is the quick way, and it's also just a dummy way of displaying it, a way that's not, you know, going to consume a lot of time. As salesmen, you might have just a few minutes to get that contract signed and get that check, and it might be best to use that version versus, although, Randy, when you gave your demonstration tonight, I really liked how you did that, and I think there's power and there's magic in